Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Let me talk to you for a minute. See, I ain't saying I know everything, but I've been around long enough to know a few things about men and what we respect, what we don't, and what we take for granted. If you let us, now let me slow down and say this right here, because it's important and I want you to catch it. One of the biggest mistakes I see women make out here is giving commitment without clarity. Let that sink in. You're out here playing the role of wife, but you ain't even sure if you're the girlfriend. You cooking, cleaning, loving this man, investing your time, your energy, your emotions, and for what? You don't even know where y'all stand. See, a man that really wants you, he's gonna be clear. He's gonna step up and say, this is what I want. This is who I want to build with. I want you. He ain't gonna keep you in no gray area. He ain't gonna have you wondering if you're his goal on Monday but a ghost by Friday. Nah, that's not how a grown man moves. Some of y'all keep showing up for a man who ain't made no real decision about you. You giving him wifey benefits while he's giving you, what? Text when he feels like it. A few nights a week? A little conversation when it's convenient? That's not a relationship. That's a situation. And situations will drain you. They'll wear you down. They'll make you question your worth. Let me tell you something. Men know exactly what they want. Don't ever believe that I'm just confused or I'm not ready right now. Yes? If a man met Beyonce tomorrow and she said, I want you, he'd get ready today. Men move fast for what they truly value. We're not slow, we're not dumb, and we're not indecisive when we really want something. So if you're sitting there wondering where you stand with him, baby, you probably don't. And I know, trust me, I know it's hard. You might like him, the chemistry's there. He might be fine, he might say the right things every now and then. But if you don't have clarity, you're walking blind. You're building on sand, not on a foundation. Relationships don't work like that. And love, real love, requires direction. See, women are nurturers by nature. Y'all love hard, y'all invest emotionally, you care deeply. But here's what you gotta remember. If you plant your love in the wrong soil, it won't grow. It'll just get drained. And that's what happens when you commit before the man has even told you what you mean to him. Some of y'all are in 2-year, 3-year talking stages. Still don't know what y'all are. Still introducing him as my friend because he ain't ever said you're his woman. Come on now, that ain't it. You're not confused. You just don't want to accept the truth. And the truth is, if you keep letting a man sit at the table without ever bringing a plate, he'll keep showing up empty-handed. I see women try to prove their worth to a man like, if I do this, if I show him how loyal I am, if I stick through his mess, maybe he'll choose me. Baby, no, you're not a contestant. This ain't a game show. You don't need to prove your value. You need to know it. And when you know your worth, you'll stop giving relationship benefits to a man who hasn't even shown you boyfriend basics. You don't owe nobody your time just because you're interested. You don't owe your body, your loyalty, your energy, your future to somebody who won't even give you a straight answer. Matter of fact, if a man can't tell you without hesitation, yes, I want you in my life. Yes, I see a future with you, then that right there tells you everything you need to know. And don't get it twisted. Asking for clarity ain't being needy. It's being wise. You got one life to live, and time is the one thing you can't get back. You can get over a breakup. You can rebuild your peace, but you can't refund years wasted on someone who was never serious in the first place. So stop waiting on mixed signals to become clear signs. Stop building a bond with a man who ain't ready to build with you. And don't be afraid to walk away from a man who can't give you a real title, because every time you choose you, you teach the world how to treat you. Love should never leave you guessing. If it's right, you'll know. If it's mutual, you'll feel it. If it's real, he'll show it. That's the truth. Now let me tell you about one of the most dangerous things y'all can do out here. Falling in love with the idea of a man instead of who that man really is. That right there'll mess you up every time. See, you're not in love with him. You're in love with the potential of who he could be if he just changed this one thing or fixed that one flaw or finally got his act together. But let me tell you something real. You cannot date a man's potential. You can't build a future off a fantasy. See, women got this beautiful thing where you see the good in people. Y'all got hope, you got vision, you believe in a man, but sometimes that hope turns into denial. You start making excuses for things you should be walking away from. You say, oh, he's just going through something right now, or he just needs time, or he's never had someone like me before. That's all fine until 6 months, a year, 2 years go by, and he's still the same man with the same problems. And now you're just sitting there waiting for somebody to grow into a version you created in your head. Let me ask you something. If a man tells you who he is, or better yet shows you, why don't you believe him? You see him dodging responsibility. You see him being inconsistent. You see how he talks to you when he's angry, how he treats you when he's frustrated. You see the lies, the broken promises, the little jabs that chip away at your spirit. but somehow you still convince yourself that the real him is buried under all that mess. Nah, that is the real him. A man's character isn't just what he does when things are easy. It's who he becomes when life gets hard. That's where the truth lives. Now I get it. Maybe when you met him he had charm, he had swag, he had dreams and talked a good game. Maybe he made you feel special in ways nobody else ever did. But all of that means nothing if he can't back it up with consistency and growth. And don't let chemistry confuse you. Just cause y'all click in the bedroom or y'all vibe when it's good doesn't mean it's love. A connection without commitment is just a distraction. And here's another thing y'all do. Y'all start building for a future based on your imagination. You start picturing him being the man you want him to be. You see him getting a better job, learning how to communicate, finally committing, becoming a good father, a good husband. But none of that's real unless he wants it. You can't want it for him. A man has to want to grow for himself, not because you believe he could. Belief without action is nothing but a dream. And girl, you can't build a relationship off a dream, especially when he's still out here living like he in a nightmare. You gotta stop ignoring the evidence. Stop acting like you don't see what's right in front of you. That little voice in your gut, that's your intuition. That's God tapping you on the shoulder saying, look again, pay attention. But you keep turning your head because you don't want to face the truth. You'd rather hold on to the story you told yourself about what this relationship could be than admit what it really is. That's not love, that's denial. And denial will cost you peace, time, and a whole lot of healing later. You ever see somebody trying to carry a broken chair? It don't hold no weight, it keeps falling apart, and you're there trying to patch it up every time. That's what it's like holding on to a man who ain't meant for you. You keep doing all the emotional labor, trying to make it work when he's not lifting a finger. You're showing up fully while he's halfway in. And the worst part, he knows you'll keep showing up. He knows he don't gotta change because you already decided to love the version of him that don't even exist yet. Let me tell you, a man doesn't need convincing when he's ready. When he's ready, he acts different. He listens different. He loves different. You don't have to push, pull, or perform. You won't be out here begging for his time, wondering if he'll call, hoping he'll step up. He just will. And if he's not, if he's been showing you who he is, and who he is ain't what you deserve, then baby, the most loving thing you can do is walk away. Stop looking at potential like it's a promise. Potential is just possibility. It's not a plan. It don't pay bills. It don't keep you warm at night. It don't wipe your tears when he hurts you over and over again. And it sure don't make a good man if he ain't working to become one. So stop trying to raise a man. Stop trying to shape him into who you want. That's not your job. You're a partner, not a parent. So I'm saying this from love. Stop ignoring the signs just because you love the idea of him. Love is not blind. Love sees clearly. And when it's real, when it's right, it doesn't live in potential. It lives in action.
Let me talk to you about something that a lot of women need to hear, but not enough people are saying it. You ready? Stop settling for less than you deserve. I mean, because every time you accept less, you teach a man that he can get away with not giving you more. Now, I know some of y'all sitting there thinking, but I love him. I get it. Love is powerful, but love ain't supposed to hurt. Love ain't supposed to feel like you're always trying, always proving, always waiting. Some of y'all are out here begging for the bare minimum and calling it love. No, ma'am. That ain't love. That's survival mode in a relationship. You were built for more than last-minute texts, broken promises, and inconsistent effort. You were built for more than a man who only calls you when he's bored, when it's convenient, or when nobody else answered. You deserve a man who chooses you every day, publicly, proudly, and without hesitation. And if you're not getting that, then what are you really doing? You're settling. And when you settle, you shrink. See, here's the thing. Settling don't start all at once. It creeps in real slow. First it's, well, he's just bad at texting. Then it's, he's been through a lot. He just needs time. And before you know it, you're making excuses for a man who's been giving you the same weak effort for months, maybe even years. You stop asking for more because you're scared to lose the little bit he's giving. But that little bit, that ain't enough. That's crumbs. And you were never meant to live off crumbs. You don't chase a man. You don't beg for attention. You don't keep proving your worth to someone who should have seen it from the moment he met you. When a man is truly into you, you won't have to guess. You won't have to chase. You won't have to change who you are to keep his interest. He will show up consistently without you having to pull it out of him like teeth. But when you settle, you start teaching yourself that that little bit of effort is all you're worth. You start lowering your standards just to hold on to something that was never solid to begin with. You start accepting pain as part of love, and baby, that's not the way this is supposed to work. You are not hard to love. You're just loving someone who ain't ready, ain't right, or ain't worthy. I hear women say all the time, but he's a good man deep down. Look, deep down don't count if it never comes up to the surface. What good is potential if he never lives up to it? What good is love if it don't come with action, consistency, and respect? You can't keep pouring into someone who won't even hold a cup steady. You're out here empty while he stays full. That ain't balance, that's burnout. And don't let loneliness make you lower the bar. Some of y'all are afraid to be alone, so you settle for halfway love just to have someone next to you. But being alone and at peace is better than being with someone and feeling invisible. You don't need a warm body, you need a warm heart. And if he can't offer that, then let him go. You don't have to stay in a relationship where you constantly feel like you're not enough, where you're doing everything to make it work and he's doing just enough to keep you around. Love is not a test. You don't earn it by suffering. You don't prove it by enduring disrespect. If a man loves you, you will know. If he values you, you will feel it. You won't have to keep asking where you stand, wondering if you're asking for too much. You'll be met with effort, not excuses. Let me tell you what happens when you stop settling. You start glowing different. You start moving different. You walk like you know who you are. You don't tolerate the nonsense. You don't wait around for someone to figure out if they want you. You attract a different kind of man, a man who's ready, who's real, who sees you and respects you and doesn't need to be convinced. But you only attract that kind of love when you know your value, when you stop confusing effort with intention, when you stop thinking loyalty means staying through disrespect. Loyalty is beautiful, but not when it's one-sided. Not when it costs you your peace. You can be loyal to yourself too. Matter of fact, that's where it needs to start. So if you're in a situation right now where you're constantly asking, is this enough? Am I asking for too much? The answer is probably no. You're not asking for too much. You're just asking the wrong person. You deserve someone who meets you where you are, who matches your energy, who shows up every single time without having to be begged or reminded. Stop settling. Stop shrinking. Stop watering yourself down just to be digestible to a man who couldn't handle you at full strength. You're not a halfway kind of woman, so stop living in halfway love. Start expecting more. And if he can't rise to the level of what you deserve, then wish him well and move on. That's the truth. Let me tell you something that might sting a little, but it's real. You can't keep compromising your boundaries in the name of love and expect that man to respect you. It don't work like that. If you bend every time he pushes, if you shift every time he tests you, then you're not setting boundaries. You're drawing suggestions. And let me be clear, a man can't honor what you don't enforce. See, a lot of women confuse being understanding with being a doormat. Y'all think if you're patient enough, forgiving enough, quiet enough, he'll see how good you are and finally treat you right. But what really happens is he sees he can get away with it. Every time you let that disrespect slide, every time you ignore what you feel, just to keep the peace, every time you convince yourself it's not that big a deal, you lose a little piece of yourself. And after a while, you don't even recognize the woman in the mirror anymore. Let me break it down for you. Boundaries are not walls. They're standards. They're a way of saying, this is how I deserve to be treated. This is what I will and won't accept. This is the level I operate on. You're not pushing love away by having boundaries. You're protecting yourself so real love can reach you. Because real love respects limits. Real love don't try to control you, manipulate you, or test how far you'll bend before you break. Now, I've seen this happen too many times, women falling so hard so fast that they start making excuses for behavior they'd never tolerate if it came from anyone else. You let him talk to you any kind of way. You let him show up late, cancel plans, disappear, come back like nothing happened, and you're still there, still cooking, still loving, still hoping. But let me ask you something, if he's not changing, why are... And don't hit me with that, but I'm just loyal, or I see the good in him. Baby, loyalty to the wrong man will drain you. Seeing the good in someone who ain't showing up for you doesn't make you loyal. It makes you unavailable to someone who... You can't keep giving grace to someone who takes it as a green light to treat you however he wants. You know what happens when you compromise your boundaries over and over again. You start teaching him that your comfort, your peace, your values, none of it matters. He starts thinking, she ain't going nowhere, I can act however I want and she'll still be there. And the sad part is, sometimes you prove him right. But here's the truth, when you truly love yourself, you don't just set boundaries, you keep them. Even when it's uncomfortable, even when he pushes back, even when it means you might lose him. Because the moment you start betraying yourself just to keep someone else around, you've already lost the most important relationship in your life. The one you have with you. Don't compromise your standards to accommodate a man who ain't even trying to grow. Don't quiet your voice to keep his ego safe. Don't lower your expectations just because he says you're asking for too much. No, you're asking the wrong person. The right man won't be offended by your boundaries. He'll respect them. He'll see them as a reflection of your strength, your self-awareness, your self-worth. And guess what? That kind of man, he's not intimidated by your power. He's inspired by it. I know some of y'all are afraid. You're scared that if you start setting real boundaries, he's gonna leave. But let me tell you something. If a man walks away because you finally decided to protect your peace, let him go. Because that ain't love, that's control. That's convenience. That's comfort at your expense. You are not too much. You are not too difficult. You are not too strong. You just need to be with someone who is equally strong, equally ready, equally invested. And you'll never find that while you're too busy lowering yourself to fit into a space that wasn't built for the fullness of who you are. Now, I know you want love. I know you want connection. I know you want to build something real, but it's got to start with you. You've got to show people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. So if you say you don't tolerate lying, don't keep giving chances after he lies. If you say you don't accept inconsistency, don't keep picking up the phone when he's only consistent and disappointing you. If you say you value communication, don't keep excusing silence and shutdowns like that's normal. That's not healthy. That's trauma bonding. You gotta stop compromising who you are just to hold on to someone who can't meet you where you are. Because here's the truth. If a man really wants to be in your life, he will rise to the level of your boundaries. He will adjust. He will evolve. He will respect your standards. But if he won't, then your boundary did its job. It protected you from settling for less than you deserve. Let me tell you something that's crucial to understand. In relationships, never ever lose yourself in the name of love. Now, I know that sounds simple, but it's harder than it seems. Some of y'all get so caught up in trying to make him happy, trying to please him, trying to be everything he needs, that you forget to be who you are. You start losing sight of your own goals, your own needs, your own identity, all in the name of love, all in the name of being a good partner. But here's the thing. You can't be good for anyone else if you're not good to yourself first. Some of y'all are out here giving up your passions, your career ambitions, your friendships, your sense of self, all for a man. And you're doing it with good intentions. You want to build a life together. You want to support him. You want to see him grow. But what happens when you're so focused on him growing that you stop growing? What happens when you forget who you are just to make room for him? You'll wake up one day and realize you don't even recognize yourself anymore. You'll wonder where your dreams went, where your sense of independence went, where your confidence went. And that, my friend, is the price you pay for losing yourself in a relationship. See, this is where things get tricky. Love is supposed to be a partnership. It's supposed to be about two people supporting each other's growth, encouraging each other's dreams, and building each other up. But too often, one partner, and usually it's the woman, starts to dim their own light just to make the other shine. And don't get me wrong, relationships require compromise. But there's a difference between compromising and completely sacrificing who you are. When you're constantly putting his needs before yours, when you're constantly adjusting your plans, your goals, your desires, your happiness just to make him comfortable, something's off. You're not in a partnership, you're in a codependent situation. And the truth is, you'll never be fulfilled in a relationship where you're not allowed to be yourself. Now let's talk about something that's real. If you lose yourself in a relationship, what happens when that relationship ends? You've forgotten how to function on your own. You've forgotten who you are without him. You've let the relationship consume you, and now you don't know how to exist outside of it. And that is a dangerous place to be. Relationships are supposed to add to your life, not take away from who you are. They should enhance the person you already are, not completely redefine you. This is why you've got to keep the core of who you are intact. No matter what, keep your hobbies, keep your interests. Keep your ambitions. Keep your friendships. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and you can't be the best partner if you're not taking care of your own needs first. That's not selfishness, that's self-care. And that's something a healthy relationship should support, not hinder. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but I want to be there for him. I want to help him. I want to support him. And that's all beautiful. It really is. But here's the thing. You can't give him all of you if you've given away so much of yourself that there's nothing left to give. You can't keep pouring into him if you're draining yourself in the process. The best way you can love him is by loving yourself first, by showing him that you can stand on your own 2 feet, chase your dreams, build your life. And when you come together, it's not because you need each other to survive, but because you want to grow together side by side. But this doesn't just apply to your dreams and your goals. It also applies to your values, your beliefs, your sense of right and wrong. Don't let anyone convince you that you need to change who you are to fit into their world. Don't let anyone pressure you into compromising on your values just to keep the peace. If your core beliefs don't align, don't ignore that. If you find yourself changing for the sake of a relationship, stop and ask yourself why. Is this love or is this manipulation? If he truly respects you, he will accept you for who you are with all your flaws, your strengths, your quirks, and your boundaries. And if he doesn't, well, you're not losing out. He is a man who's worth your time, your energy, your love, will not ask you to abandon your essence to fit into his life. He will encourage you to be more of who you are, not less. He will see your value, your individuality, and appreciate that about you. You don't have to shrink yourself to make room for him. If anything, the right man will make more room for you in his life. He'll see the greatness in you and he'll want you to shine even brighter. So here's what I need you to understand. Don't get so lost in love that you forget who you are. Don't let a relationship take away the things that make you you. Don't let someone else's vision of your life replace your own. You are worthy of a love that sees you as you are, not who they want you to be. Don't let anyone tell you that being in a relationship means you have to lose yourself in it. That's not love, that's control. Real love helps you grow into the best version of yourself. It's a partnership, not a prison. If you stay true to yourself, if you keep nurturing your own growth, your own happiness, and your own dreams, you'll attract the right kind of love. A love that sees you as whole, as complete, as enough. And if you're in a relationship where that's not happening, where you're losing yourself, then you owe it to yourself to step back and ask, what am I doing here? What am I sacrificing? And is it worth it? You deserve more than that. Don't lose yourself trying to love someone else. Because the truth is, the best love starts when you love yourself fully first. Let me tell you something that's really important. Never ever settle for a man who doesn't recognize your worth. A lot of women make the mistake of thinking that if they just give enough, love enough, or sacrifice enough, eventually the man will see how great they are. But here's the truth. A man who truly values you won't need time to realize your worth. He'll see it from the moment he meets you. He'll appreciate you, not because of what you do for him, but because of who you are. And he'll make sure you know it every single day. Too often women end up in relationships where they're constantly trying to prove their value, constantly trying to convince their partner that they're worth the effort. And what happens when you're in that situation? You get drained. You start questioning yourself. You begin to think that maybe you're not good enough, or that maybe, just maybe, you need to do more, give more, change more in order to get the love and attention you deserve. But let me tell you, that is the fastest way to lose yourself. If a man doesn't already see your worth, no amount of effort or sacrifice on your part is going to make him see it. The key is that your worth should never be up for negotiation. You should never have to convince a man to respect you, to value you, to honor you. If you find yourself in that position where you're constantly proving yourself, you need to stop and reassess. Real love doesn't need to be earned every single day through your actions. It should be something that's automatic, something that's obvious. A man who truly values you won't make you chase after affection or reassurance. He won't make you feel like you're walking on eggshells, always wondering if you're doing enough to please him. When a man values you, he makes sure you feel secure in the love he gives, and he constantly affirms that you're worthy of it. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, well, he's just been through a lot, or he's not used to this kind of love. Let me tell you, a man's past is not an excuse to treat you like an option. And it's definitely not an excuse to make you feel like you're the one who has to fix him. You can't pour from an empty cup, and you can't keep giving to someone who isn't even sure about you or isn't willing to put in the same effort to make things work. It's okay to give, but you can't give more than you're receiving. Relationships are supposed to be reciprocal. They're supposed to be a partnership, not a one-sided effort. And another thing, don't ever allow someone to treat you like you're not a priority. If a man truly values you, you will feel it in the way he treats you. He'll make you a priority in his life, not an afterthought. If you're always the last person he reaches out to, if he's always making excuses for why he can't spend time with you, or if he's constantly too busy to show you love, that's a red flag. You deserve someone who makes you feel like you matter, who shows you every single day that you're not just some option or second choice.
Here's the thing, if a man is truly invested in you, he will make the effort. He will put in the work to keep you happy, to keep you secure, and to keep the relationship healthy. He won't leave you guessing, wondering if he's truly all in or just using you as a backup when nothing else is going on. If you're constantly questioning his commitment, then maybe it's time to start questioning your own. Why are you giving so much to someone who isn't willing to give back? Why are you settling for someone who isn't treating you with the respect and love you deserve? This isn't about being demanding, it's about setting the standard. It's about knowing your value and not being afraid to stand firm in that. You are not here to be anyone's second option, to be someone's backup plan. You are not here to be the woman he calls when he has nothing better to do or when no one else is around. You deserve more than that. You deserve to be with someone who sees your worth and matches it with his action. If you're in a relationship where you feel like you're constantly having to prove yourself, or where you feel like you're the one always giving and never receiving, it's time to make a decision. Or are you going to keep waiting around for him to change? Or are you going to keep lowering your standards just to keep him around? Or are you going to raise your standards, walk away from the situation, and make room for the kind of love that truly honors you? You don't have to settle for less than you deserve, not in love, not in life. Remember, you are not defined by the man you're with. You are a whole, complete person all on your own. You're valuable because of who you are, not because of who you're with. And if a man can't see that, if he can't recognize the beauty, the strength, and the power that you bring into the relationship, then that's on him. But it's also on you to walk away. Don't waste time trying to prove your worth to someone who can't see it. You are worth more than that. Never ever forget your worth. Don't let anyone convince you that you're not enough, that you need to change, or that you need to give more in order to be loved. The right man will see you for who you are and love you for exactly that. If you have to convince him, if you have to chase him, if you have to beg for his attention and affection, then he's not the one, and you deserve more than that. You deserve to be seen, to be heard, and to be valued for the incredible person you are. And when you start treating yourself like the queen you are, when you start demanding the respect and love you deserve, that's when you'll start attracting the kind of man who knows your worth. And when that happens, it'll feel right because it's not about settling. It's about getting exactly what you've always deserved. And trust me, you'll know when you found it.